Good morning, America. Breaking news. Jussie Smollett is now in custody, charged with a felony, accused of lying about that racist and homophobic attack, and the newly revealed video of those two brothers and what they told a grand jury.
Terror takedown. Right here in the U.S., a Coast Guard officer accused of plotting a mass terror attack with a stockpile of weapons and a hit list targeting some of the nation's top politicians.
Snow emergency. That massive storm causing hundreds of accidents, this school's roof collapsing, and the moment rare thunder snow is caught on camera. Now the new warning as a major new storm crosses the country.
Breaking news, leaders of the Catholic Church and sexual abuse survivors descend on Vatican City. The unprecedented summit now underway. We're there live.
Basket fall, the major blowout during one of the biggest and most expensive games of the year. The shoe of Duke's top player busting open just seconds in.
That's unbelievable. He broke his shoe with his own foot,
knocking him out of the game.
And behind the scenes of the Oscars, who's opening the show on Hollywood's biggest night? The producers are spilling secrets right here on GMA.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. We want to get right to that breaking news. Jussie Smollett has turned himself into Chicago police.
He is facing that felony charge of filing a false police report.
Police are preparing for a press conference this morning, a bond hearing later this afternoon. Eva Pilgrim is in Chicago with the latest. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Robin. Once the victim, now a suspect. This morning at 5:15, Jussie Smollett turned himself into police.
This morning, Jussie Smollett taken into custody. Police accusing him of filing a false police report, fabricating the racist and homophobic attack he said he suffered at the hands of two men wearing ski masks.
It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth.
Smollett detailed the alleged brutal attack in an interview with ABC last week.
And I see the attacker masked, and he said, "This MAGA country punches me right in the face." So I punched his ass back. And then we started tussling.
But in newly released surveillance video, these two brothers, who police initially identified as attackers, are seen buying what appear to be a ski mask and red baseball caps. Police say the men, who sat for more than 2 hours for a grand jury yesterday, told them they were paid by Smollett to stage and participate in the alleged attack.
I think Jussie Smollett should come clear because the truth will set him free.
The attorney for the two men speaking out last night outside the courthouse, claiming her clients and Smollett have been in contact at least once since the incident.
I think that Jussie's conscience is probably not letting him sleep right now, so I think he should unload that conscience and just come out and tell the American people what actually happened.
Who the would make something like this up or add something to it or whatever it may be? I can't even, I'm an advocate. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
Overnight, a new statement from Smollett's legal team defending the actor, saying, like any other citizen, Mr. Smollett enjoys the presumption of innocence, particularly when there has been an investigation like this one, where information, both true and false, has been repeatedly leaked. Given these circumstances, we intend to conduct a thorough investigation and to mount an aggressive defense. If convicted, the Class 4 felony could put the 36-year-old behind bars.
And we are told that Smollett made a statement to police before being taken into custody. He is expected here in bond court later this afternoon, guys.
All right, Eva, thank you. We're going to bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, and our senior legal correspondent and analyst, Sunny Hostin. Thank you both for coming in this morning. Dan, it is apparent that the police fully believed the brothers and fully believed that Smollett set this up.
Right, and they must have corroborating evidence. We saw there the video of the brothers buying the mask and the rope, etc. And remember, why you have to ask yourself, why would the brothers implicate themselves in this if they had nothing to do with it, right? So now you're in a position where The only defense I can really think of for Smollett is going to be, yes, they did this to me. I had no idea that they were going to do this to me, and they said these things and I had nothing to do with it. That's why text messages, electronic receipts, anything bringing them together is going to be a problem for them.
And it also appears clear that they've testified in front of the grand jury under penalty of perjury, and that a grand jury has indicted them for these charges.
Well, that's not the only thing that's happened right here. We also know that Smollett's lawyers have been in negotiations with the police and prosecutors as well. So there are other possible outcomes here.
Right. Well, yeah, there are. I mean, first of all, we're seeing a different tone from the Smollett team now. Initially, it was, how dare you suggest that he might have made this up? He's a victim here. Now it's talking about the presumption of innocence, which is what we hear with anyone who's charged with a crime. The question's going to be, is there some sort of deal that can be reached? And you first have to ask yourself, are prosecutors going to offer any deal? I mean, that's question one.
And, you know, as a former prosecutor, I will tell you that what is very difficult about this case is many hours of you know, were spent investigating it, and Chicago is a this area is a very high crime area, and so those police hours could have been spent investigating
other crimes. What the police are saying right now is that they didn't use resources that would have been used on other homicides, but there are clearly costs involved here, and any settlement would have to involve paying back those costs.
Paying back those costs, and also think about the larger issue here, which is the chilling effect on victims, crime victims coming forward. I spent many hours trying to get victims of crimes to come forward to testify against their abusers, against their attackers, and they didn't want to come forward because people they thought would not believe them. They thought that there would be repercussions. They thought that there would be consequences. This type of crime, if true, has a tremendous chilling effect.
And that's why the police were so cautious in the beginning. Remember, they kept saying that they were investigating a possible hate crime.
Yes.
They were looking at him as being the victim in this. Now he is the suspect. But guys, this touches all the buttons.
It does.
It's, I mean, it's a setback for race relations, homophobia, MAGA supporters who were, you know, the fingers are pointed at them.
Yes.
I mean, I cannot think of another case where there's this anger on so many sides, and you can understand why there would be.
Again, if true, he has almost single-handedly had this chilling effect on the LGBTQ community, on the Black community, on
victims,
the victims, and just there's already this divisiveness that we're seeing in our country. I don't think our country needed this at this time, and I think because of that, prosecutors are going to be taking this very seriously. And George, to your point, a deal in this kind of case, this kind of high-profile case, I think may be very difficult to come by.
Yeah, I think that's right. And again, when you watch, I think your interview is going to be evidence in this case.
No
I mean, that sort of locks him in there to a particular account. And when you watch, God, it is so hard to watch that again. Him talking about how anyone who would ever make something up like this, etc. And that's what everyone in America is thinking right now. Is exactly what he said right there.
He is. We should be mindful. He is, of course, entitled to the presumption of innocence. But my goodness, if a grand jury has indicted him, he has been arrested.
Because he has said he still said he hadn't done it.
Yes.
The brothers are saying one thing, he's saying another. How do you get through that he said, she said process?
You look for objective evidence. You look for something that is beyond just accounts. You look for texts, emails, e-receipts, videos, surveillance, etc.
That's all assuming a fight, though. I mean, but it is possible. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but it is possible that if in that statement he gave to the police this morning, he comes out, he then confesses and says, I did do this, that could be the path towards more leniency, correct?
Absolutely. If you take responsibility, prosecutors always look very kindly on that. I always did.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you get a deal. I mean, it still could mean you're pleading guilty to the crime you were charged with.
And he can't really look to the brothers, because the brothers are not getting immunity here, right? The brothers, didn't the police?
There's no indication yet.
There's no indication.
Their lawyers saying they don't need immunity. Right? Their lawyers saying that there's no concern for them on the legal front. Now, we'll have to see on that, but...
Well, if the only charge against Smollett is that he filed a false police report, if they didn't lie to the police, then they didn't...
Right, but the question is going to be, what did they know about what he was going to do with this?
Exactly.
I mean, and that's going to be the critical legal question.
Co-conspirators as well.
Wow.
I think you're going to talk about this on The View today.
I am pretty sure we are.
Thank you both.
Thank you both. We're going to move on now to that chilling terror attack foiled by police. The Coast Guard officer arrested for planning the attack after stockpiling weapons and compiling a hit list of prominent Democrats and journalists is heading to court this morning. Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas in Washington with the details. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. FBI officials are describing this as a truly alarming case. And if the allegations are true, terrifying. Today, the FBI plans to make an urgent appeal to keep this officer of the Coast Guard locked up pending trial because they believe he's that dangerous. This morning, Coast Guard Lieutenant Christopher Paul Hassan will appear in court, accused of plotting mass murder. According to the FBI, Hassan, who also served in the Army National Guard and Marines beginning in 1988, stockpiled these weapons, including 1,000 bullets, handguns, and assault rifles. All this stored in his small Maryland apartment, they believe possibly as part of a dream to, quote, murder innocent civilians on a scale rarely seen in this country.
It was almost like he was a ticking time bomb waiting to go off.
The FBI claims Hassan is a white nationalist, bluntly calling him a domestic terrorist. They say the 49-year-old had a possible hit list, including the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senators Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, and TV personality Joe Scarborough, accused of secretly plotting online, Googling information, and asking ominous questions like, where do most senators live in D.C.? Do senators have Secret Service protection? Are Supreme Court justices protected? Prosecutors also allege that Hassan studied the strategy of Olympic Park bomber Eric Rudolph, noting that he needed to, quote, have a way to get out, to escape crime scenes. And they claim he had musings of genocide, writing at one point he was looking for, quote, a way to kill almost every last person on the earth, including using biological weapons, a plague, and attacking the food supply. Hassan was arrested on gun and drug violations, but today the FBI is asking for incarceration without bail because they believe those charges are, quote, the tip of the iceberg. Michael?
All right, I'm sure they are, Pierre. Thank you so much. And now we're going to turn to that major winter storm that's causing hundreds of accidents across the Midwest and the Northeast. The heavy snow even collapsing a school's roof. Let's go to Ginger for the very latest. Good morning, Ginger.
Morning, Michael. By the time it got up to Massachusetts, it was just a couple of inches that caused more of that irritation, lots of those regular accidents. St. Cloud, Minnesota, now it's snowiest February on record. It's making history from there through Wisconsin. Another wintry, icy mess, making for a travel nightmare. More than 4,500 flights canceled or delayed, cars skating off the roads across the Midwest. In Minnesota, at least 208 accidents. The airport on a ground stop for hours. 6 to 11 inches of snow left roads lined with wrecks. The Twin Cities now marking its snowiest February on record. In Nebraska, 9 semi-trucks colliding, backing up traffic for hours. In Waterloo, Iowa, a school roof collapsing under the heavy snow. No one was injured. Heavy-duty snowplows swarming runways overnight at Pittsburgh International. Thunder snow captured on transportation cameras in Ohio. And in a new storm attacking the desert Southwest, Las Vegas, Nevada, with a half-inch of snow, the first measurable snow in more than a decade. And now with that new storm, Southern California schools are closed where there's any elevation because you're getting snow. And you're going to keep getting it through today, tomorrow, and then it's going to be moving to the east. Check out that low pressure system. As it slides east, you see north of Phoenix, so Flagstaff, any of the areas there on the rim could get up to 2 to even 3 feet of snow. And then by Saturday, it's going to mean damaging wind possibilities from Kentucky back to Arkansas, guys.
So wild weather out there. All right, Ginger. Thanks. Now to new developments involving that American ISIS bride wanting to come home. The Trump administration now says she is not a U.S. citizen and will not be allowed to return. James Longman has been covering the story for us from eastern Syria and has more. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Robin. The young American woman who became a jihadi and joined ISIS says she wants to come home, but the U.S. government has made its decision. She is banned from entering the United States. Donald Trump tweeting, "I've instructed Mike Pompeo, and he fully agrees, not to allow Huda Muthanna back in the country." The government says that, in fact, she was never a U.S. citizen in the first place because, although born in America, her father was a diplomat. Muthanna's lawyer says she had a valid U.S. passport and is a citizen, born in Hackensack, New Jersey in October 1994, months after her father stopped being a diplomat. And this morning, ISIS held ground, shrinking further in eastern Syria as more civilians and possibly disguised militants are bussed out of the danger zone. And all this as U.S. allies Britain and France are declining the Trump administration request to stay in Syria after U.S. troops are withdrawn. Robin?
All right, James. Thanks. Michael?
All right, thank you, Robin. Now to that unprecedented summit that's underway right now at the Vatican. Abuse survivors from around the world gathering at the Catholic Church hold a first-of-its-kind meeting with its leaders to address the sexual abuse scandal that's been rocking the church. ABC's David Wright is there in Vatican City with more. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Michael. This is the first time that the Catholic Church has organized a worldwide summit quite like this. 190 church leaders from around the world summoned to deal with a very painful subject, one that's ravaged the church's reputation and undermined its moral authority, and the scandal continues to grow. As he convened this four-day summit, Pope Francis warned the bishops, saying that the faithful are not going to be satisfied with platitudes and promises. They want to see concrete action. The Pope wants to make sure everybody worldwide is on the same page here. Survivors applaud that. Some of them have been meeting behind closed doors in the Vatican with church officials ahead of this summit. They want to make sure that the church not only goes after the priests who abuse people, but also the bishops who've covered it up. Many of them also say that this summit should have happened years ago. Guys?
Many would agree with that.
Yeah, it's going to ripple around the world.
It will. Thank you, David. We could turn now to that shocking moment on the basketball court. It was one of the most highly anticipated games of the season. We're talking #1 Duke, #9 UNC. That college showdown. Tickets were more than $3,000, more than the Super Bowl. Wow. President Obama was there courtside when this happens, just 36 seconds in. Zion Williamson, projected #1 pick in the draft, going down, that mild knee sprain, they're saying. His shoe completely falling
The bottom
apart.
just came straight up.
Yeah, he couldn't even play he was out for the whole game.
A lot of torque, I guess.
Well, the Tar Heels took advantage, beating the Blue Devils by 12.
Wow.
Okay, Nike, since we're getting a nice shot of the shoe, now promising to investigate what happened. President Obama is also weighing in, tweeting, Zion Williamson seems like an outstanding young man as well as an outstanding basketball player, wishing him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, they do say it's pretty mild, right?
That's what they're saying, and hopefully that is the case. But I mean, 36 seconds in, I mean, people paid $3,000.
See that.
Yeah, but we wish him well.
Playing steel-toe boots next time.
He flew right out of that.
There is a big development in Cold Case, how police use social media and science to get that break in the case of an 11-year-old girl. We're going to have that coming up.
And Gwyneth Paltrow is fighting back as a clash on the slopes turns into a legal battle. That's also ahead. But first, let's go back to Ginger now for the weather. Ginger?
And I got to tell you, people from Arkansas through Mississippi are saying, I think we need an arc. It feels like it. Mendenhall, Mississippi, they had some 4 inches of rain, and there's more where that came from. Remember, I was showing you that severe storm forecast? It also comes along with more than 5 inches of rain from Louisiana right through Kentucky. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, though, we've got the Sunny Cities, sponsored by Pampers Cruisers.
They're all going in the same direction, but in very different ways. And Pampers gives all of them our driest, best-fitting diaper. Pampers Cruisers with 3-way fit. They adapt at the waist, legs, and bottom, with up to 12 hours of protection for all the freedom to move their way in Pampers Cruisers. Only Pampers diapers are the #1 choice of hospitals, nurses, and parents.
A few slick spots this morning, some clouds too, and even some fog, but all burning off and kind of moving out of here by 8, 9 o'clock. Temperature late morning 42. We're into the lower to mid 50s between 1 and about 5 o'clock today. Expect an ample amount of sunshine, some clouds late today, maybe a sprinkle south and west. Tomorrow it's clouds, the high 47. We're 43 on Saturday with a good chance of rain for the afternoon hours and Sunday morning too. Best of all though, we get up to 70 degrees Sunday with a bit of wind.
One big image I didn't get to share with you, and I think it's very impressive at this point in winter to see this many warnings across the Southwest. You're talking about all the way to the Mexican border. You do not see that often. This is absolutely going to be their biggest of the season. So I have a little inspiration for them. How about you be like the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Zoo penguins and just enjoy it a little bit, right? Did you see the one push the other one?
But you see the face plant?
Yeah, face plant. I mean, that's the thing. I think you just have to embrace it. Don't drive. Just waddle around with your friends, I believe is what I'm...
Be in the moment.
There are so many people that wrote me, by the way, and said, we're going to make Michael like winter, one way or another.
You have no chance.
Not going to work. We have a lot more coming up. We'll be right back.
Gonna make me like this.
I'm Amy Tran, Pure Leaf Tea Master. I was inspired by nature's finest ingredients to create a new take on tea. Introducing naturally caffeine-free Pure Leaf Herbal Iced Tea.